What's up, everybody? This is Donald, the Pinstripe Chronicles. I got my man Uncle T here, and we are pissed. We've got some serious things to say about Brian Cashman and his organization and Hal Steinbrenner. It was an embarrassment, an absolute embarrassment. What a disservice. Brian Cashman's antagonistic, narcissistic, expletive-filled rants were a disservice to our fan base, a disservice to the Yankee organization, and a disservice to his job and GMs in general. Like, that was a disgrace. He spoke to people like they were a piece of shit on his shoe, right? He just went right after everybody, calling fans this, that. I mean, he could have just taken accountability, right? He could have just gone, you know what? I got some things I need to improve on. We got to work on. I've got a process that needs tightened up. We're working whatever it takes to get this thing fixed. He could have just been accountable, but no, that is not Brian Cashman. Instead, a full of excuses. It was just so disgraceful. Hal Steinbrenner sounds like he doesn't have a clue what's going on. We're going to get into Hal Steinbrenner. We got a lot of cover. I just want to say a big shout out to everyone that's in the chat. It looks like our chat is absolutely jumping. We got everybody in already, nice and early. We love it. We got my man Uncle T here. How are you, Uncle T?
I'm pissed off, Donald. Let's be honest. We have a with the GM with Cashman. You and I were talking about it backstage before we came on. What a fucking disgrace he is. What an embarrassment he is. The attitude he had, knowing you're going to meet with reporters, you have to maintain your professionalism. They are. They're asking the questions. They actually were asking a couple of, like, Sherman, I'm his new favorite fan. I think the way that he asked the questions that the fan wanted to ask. He wasn't asking, for lip service. He asked a legitimate question, and Cashman just fucking blew him off. Like, how dare you ask me that? And just very condescending, the attitude, the language. I don't think I've ever heard that guy curse before. Like, it's one thing if I do it, right? I'm not the GM of the fucking Yankees. I can curse all the fucking fuck I want. You know what I mean? I just don't get it. He is so tone deaf to the aggravation of this, of all of us. You're a fucking laughingstock. How dare you talk to people? How dare you respond that way? You knew, like I said, you knew you were going to be talking to the media. Can you be a little professional for a change? Because you're not professional enough to be able to successfully run an organization as a GM. Can you at least respond to the reporters properly? I was stunned by the way he was talking.
Yeah. And as you say, man, credit to Joel Sherman, because he held Brian Cashman's feet to the fire. No one else was asking the tough questions. He was willing to do so, and Brian Cashman spoke to an esteemed writer, respected nationwide writer, like he was an idiot, like he was a moron, like he didn't deserve to be speaking to him. That's not how you are supposed to interact as a general manager of one of the most important organizations in the world of sports. It was such a disservice to us. And it just, listen, we knew what was going to happen. We knew nothing was going to happen. We knew the hot air thing, right? It's not the case of what was necessarily said. It was how it was delivered. We knew what was going to be said, which was nothing, right? This is how the Yankees operate, right? They are only interested in self-protection, self-preservation. That's all they're interested in. They're not interested in being the best. They're not, right? So we can put that aside. However, the way it was delivered was one of the most embarrassing things I've ever witnessed. I've never seen a press conference worse. There has never been a press conference worse. I've been following the Yankees since before '96. I have never seen a more embarrassing shit show as we witnessed last night. It was a complete train wreck and everything. Hal Steinbrenner made it very, very clear he has no idea, nor does he have any interest in what's going on. Brian Cashman then just comes out and just starts unloading on everyone, which is, oh, as Damien says here, I'm embarrassed to be a Yankee fan. Yesterday was a gaslighting session. That is correct. That was. It was a masterclass in gaslighting. If you want to look up gaslighting in the dictionary, because I know this word is overused, but if you want to look it up in the dictionary, it will have a link to Brian Cashman's press conference yesterday, because that was gaslighting at its absolute best. Right? I didn't make these things happen. It was your fault. Was basically what he was doing. It was unbelievable. What a disgrace.
It's and we're gonna get to some. Yeah, we're gonna play some of the audio clips on Cashman and Hal later on. But it just speaks to, like we're saying, and everybody's saying in the chat, it's unacceptable that this organization is completely lost. There's no direction.
No.
There's no direction, right? And I'm going to jump ahead a little bit before we get back into really with Cashman. They're holding all these meetings, and Hal was like, I read the transcripts. He wasn't even in the fucking meeting. You're the fucking owner. You're not in the meeting? Come on now. How do you run your business that way? Oh my God. This is the New York Yankees. You got to be hands-on in every second. That one, that was. We'll dive into that later. But Cashman is just completely freaking. He's got to go. He's got to go.
I was wondering the same thing. Do you think Aaron Boone was the minute taker? Think he was the minute taker? What on earth is going on?
Oh God! All right, Donald. Let's highlight this amazing chat before we get start getting into the audio clips. Shout them all out, Donald. Go for it.
Shout them all out. Well, we got plenty. So anyone new, just hit us up. Stevie B, what is up, Stevie B? Jonathan, good morning, Jonathan. Thanks for joining us. Fats27. Don't know about the rest of you. My brain still hurts after listening to Hal. Everything hurts after listening to Hal. Medina, yesterday was probably the saddest day for Yankee fans. Completely agree, man. Completely agree. Word. Well said. We have got Dev. What is up, Dev? And we have NFE. We have Damien. Is everyone throwing up yesterday after being disgusted? Yes. 161 Rev. Gentlemen. Oh, God. How are you doing? How are you doing? How are you holding up after that? Because I ain't holding up too well. Right? I ain't holding up too well. Brad, too precious for the hot air. Chris the Flash, salute. How are you? We have Martina says Cashman came out as an arrogant piece of shit. That's exactly who he is. He didn't come out that way. That's who he is. At least his true nature came out. Patsu, good morning. Ever in the chat. Where is your boy? Your boy has lost his voice. I don't know whether it was just him listening to Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman and Hal Steinbrenner over the last few days that he's just given up on life and his voice gave up. But I have no idea. But yeah, he's not too well, but you should be back next time. L.I. Yankee King, how are you doing? Let's be honest. Who have we developed since 2010 offensively outside of Aaron Judge? Well, Joel Sherman asked that question, and Brian Cashman annihilated him. So that's I don't take out of that what you will. We got D-Rod. Cashman talked to the reporter that way. He was using the reporter to talk to the fans that way. We got Jared. Salute Jared. That actually made no sense. I was pissed off. Anyway, trying to back up Cashman is crazy. No one can defend Cashman. If anyone even tries to defend Brian Cashman in this chat, I will completely lose my mind.
And if you do, if you want to try to defend him, you better come ready.
Yeah, you better have facts. I'd be interested. And I also want to take this opportunity to say that I did an article on Brian Cashman and Hal Steinbrenner's absolute clusterfuck of a press conference. And the link is in the chat. I would really appreciate everyone who is watching, everyone that's clicking on this, to click on it and have a read. Because I do a deep dive and I go right after Brian Cashman and the mess that he has created. D-Rod, what up, man? What up, man? What up? So, yeah, I would really appreciate if you guys check it out. Let's get into it. Uncle T.
All right.
Where do you want to start?
Just pick one out of the hat. Let's just re-aggravate ourselves over and over again.
Yeah, I agree. Let's do that. All right. Let's listen to our commander-in-chief.
I think we have good baseball people, whether they're pro scouts, whether they're coaches, whether they're the manager, whether they're the general manager, whether they're analytics guys. I think we have good people. I'm getting permission requests all over the place. We just lost our bench coach to the Mets as a manager. I've got analytics guys trying to be poached to other clubs right now. Our player development program, no different than other places. But again, reinforcement that we got good people. I'm proud of our people, and I'm proud of our process. Doesn't mean we're firing on all cylinders. Doesn't mean we're the best in class. But I think we're pretty good, personally. And I'm proud of our people, and I'm also looking forward to 24 being a better year than 23.
Okay.
Well, first off, that sentence stands out real quick.
Yeah.
I hope 2024 is better than 23. It better, because we barely reached 500. Right.
Here's what comes out for me, right? And it's actually not the swearing, which really was disgraceful for a general manager. When he said we might not be top of the class, my question to him is, why not? Why aren't you top of the class? Why are you not the best in the business? Right? That's what, if I was a journalist sitting there, that would be the first thing I would ask in reply. You say that, okay, got good people, but you're not top of the class. Well, can you give us a reason why you aren't top of the class? Because here's the reality. He has been a general manager for well over 2 decades now. He has unlimited resources, not just financially in terms of personnel, but in the front office. He can do whatever he wants. He has unrivaled power. He has every opportunity to make it the best in the business. Why is it not the best in the business? Why is it not top of the class? Right? So, even though that was a throwaway comment where he was actually trying to defend himself, right there's a hole in his argument right there. There's a massive hole. All right. You're saying you're not top of the group. Well, why aren't you top of the group? What's your reason for that? Right? Because at the end of the day, that reflects on him. He's the general manager. If he's saying that they might not be top of the class, but they're okay, is that good enough? We're the Yankees. When has that ever been good enough? But even in walks of life, if you go, hey, we might not be the best, but I'm all right. I mean, right, but at the end of the day, you have to take accountability for the fact that you're not the best. So why is that?
All right, we gotta. All right, We got Rob in the chat. What's going on, Rob? Hope your voice is better by the end of the week. He goes, I may not have my voice right now, but I can still type. Well, Brian Cashman is a disgrace. That press conference aged Tats at 176 years. Facts among facts, Rob.
You now have 320 tats.
I grew my hair back to pull it back, to pull it out. You know what I mean? Like, that's how fucking aggravated I got. It's so sad. It really is. This is a sad state of the Yankees. We have been saying for a few days now, or even more, this is one of the most important offseasons for the Yankees that in probably in our lifetime. And this is how they're kicking it off. This is how they're starting the free agent, discussions and trying to get the fans hyped up for next year. Did they do anything? Did they say anything that makes you think that there were going to be significant changes next year? No. With pretty much what we got out of yesterday was
we're good.
We're going to be fine. There's nothing wrong. Business as usual. We suck. That sums it up.
There's no excuse. Do you see my point? It's like, what? You can't just say, oh, we're good, but we're not the best. But that's okay. We're pretty fucking good, actually. What does that mean? What? Because the Mets took your bench coach? That you're some freaking expert? That you're fantastic? What does that mean? What are we doing here? You've not won a championship since 2009. That's the facts. That's not opinion. That's not.
Right,
that's not being argumentative. That's not being unfair. It's just the facts. You've not won since 2009. Why haven't you won since 2009? Right? You've had unrivaled power over the last God knows how long in the organization. You can do whatever you want. You can make it the biggest analytics team in the world if you want it to be. You could do whatever you want with your front office. So when you say we might not be the top of the class, well, why not? And whose fault is that? That's your fault. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's Rob lost a few brain cells he had left after yesterday. Yeah, I have no faith in this club. I have no faith in that front office anymore.
I never had faith in the front office. No, I'm sorry. I've been done with them for a while, but this is.
I usually try to go into the off season, fresh mind, almost clean the slate. Right? After being embarrassed last year, it goes back 2 years. We got swept in the ALCS. We didn't even. It was like we were never even there. That's how quick that series ended.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got a piss poor off season,
where
there are more. Remember this quote? Well, there are still more moves to be made. We're not done yet. What else did you do? Hal making his statement. I don't know why the fans are so upset. We could go through a fucking laundry list of all these stupid quotes that they put out that says nothing. They had said nothing. I can't remember the last time that they made a statement where I'm like, all right, my team is back. Here we go. When was that? When? The announcement of Judge, being, coming back, and getting his contract?
For me, that was more relief rather than anything else because the Yankees did everything possible to fuck that up.
maybe that they actually landed Cole could be, one of those. But really, what have they done where you're like, here we go? This is a championship caliber organization. When was that? The last time that they won it was the last time.
Damien says, guys, I love my Yankees, but as a fan base, we cannot continue to support this regime. Mm-hmm. They have absolutely no respect for us, and we continue to spend and give them our hearts. It's bullshit. I'm going to give you a big star for that, my man, because that is factual. That is absolutely factual. Let's get into some more of this clusterfuck. Here's our commander in chief having a fight with Joel Sherman.
Oh, this is awesome.
Spot to play.
This is just too much.
You're making point and a half
other
bucks.
young players come up and succeed in the major leagues. Am I missing the young players who are coming up who
With
are
the Yankees.
offensively succeeding in the major leagues?
So you're saying that we can't produce major.
I'm not saying you can't. I'm asking. You described it as indisputable. I'm asking you where, like, ultimately.
But the example you want to say right now is Volpe, I guess, and Cabrera. Those are the two, right?
Pereira,
Peraza.
Like, if they were performing, they would have kept getting more at bats. They didn't perform, and they didn't.
But Peraza's not getting everyday reps. He's
Right.
got Glaber.
Whose fault is that?
Volpe now he's got LeMahieu. Prior to that was Donaldson.
Donaldson!
He didn't play.
Oh, that,
I
yeah.
understand that, but he's got to have a spot to play for you.
Right, and this is the opportunity now for me to bring up Rob's comment here. When he said with a straight face, Josh Donaldson held up Peraza from getting playing time, I actually had a Joker laugh moment. This is the beginning of my villain arc.
No,
I love it.
Donaldson,
That was
of all the fucking guys on the roster, Donaldson's the reason. I mean, come on now. Cashman, stop.
Josh Donaldson was the worst trade in modern Yankee history. That is not an argument. That is facts. It was an absolute joke of a trade. Josh Donaldson was nothing but a disgrace since coming to the Yankees. He,
like Brad says, pure arrogance.
He caused nothing but headaches since coming to the Yankees. And Brian Cashman uses him as a reason why he blocked one of our top prospects. What the fuck? What are you doing? You lying weasel. Why are you so proud of that? I looked at his body language. He was like that.
Yeah.
Like that to Joel Sherman. Like, dude, you are a freaking child. Why are you acting like a child? Josh Donaldson? Is that an excuse?
Yep.
Honestly.
What's going on? Hector from the Morning Brew Sports Network. I miss you, bro. Can't wait for you to get back on the live streams. Yeah, we said it before, the gaslighting. You know, and it is. It's gaslighting at its finest.
Abbott Costello. If he hit, who's he taking out? LeMahieu at third? Is he taking out Volpe at short? Is he taking out Gleyber Torres, who was one of the best second basemen in the
Gleyber Torres is not a good example either because Brian Cashman tried to trade him 2 years ago for Lopez of the Marlins. How can he champion Gleyber Torres when he tried to get rid of him two summers ago?
Yep.
Right? Oh, he's one of the best second basemen in the American League. Bro, you tried to move him to shortstop. Every excuse that he tries, and I know I'm ranting and screaming here, but every excuse that he tries to throw out here, it was just a whole barrage of bullshit. But if you actually take time, you can cut through each and every one of his nonsense arguments, right? You can't champion Josh Donaldson because it was one of the worst moves you've ever made as a general manager. You can't champion Gleyber Torres, I'm sorry, because you tried to move him to shortstop and it failed, right? And then you tried to move him altogether to the Marlins. And he's on the last year of his deal and he doesn't have a contract extension. How could you then champion Gleyber Torres going, well, Gleyber Torres is blocking him? You don't have a plan for Gleyber Torres. You never had a plan for Josh Donaldson either because he's 38 years old. So you can't use those as excuses. And DJ LeMahieu was playing first for much of the season because Rizzo was out. There is no argument, Cashman. You are gaslighting us. We are not that stupid. I am not stupid. I can tell you I am not freaking stupid. I went through all your stupid arguments, and there's a hole in every single one of them.
It's Cashman is lost. He's almost to that point where you almost feel fucking sad for him for being so fucking stupid. You know, it's the naivety. The he's so naive on everything. He just thinks that no matter what he says, he's right. And I was watching a little earlier on Locked On Yankees podcast with Stacy and Steve. They do a phenomenal show. If you haven't seen them, check it out. I know Stacy's been on with the Morning Brew. She's amazing at breaking things down. She gave a great analogy with Cashman. He's like the umpires because they know that they're so protected they can't lose their job. That's Cashman. Cashman speaks like he cannot, he's invincible. He's untouchable. Well, you know what? Everybody is replaceable. The way that he spoke yesterday, if I was Hal, I'd be screaming, "Get in my office now." Who the fuck are you to talk like that and condescend to everybody? I mean, come on. You cannot, as a business owner, you can't tolerate that. You can't.
Right.
It's unacceptable.
I do want to say big salute to Hector, doing amazing work.
Yeah.
Jeez, what a mess, man! What a mess. Let's get into more of this.
Let's get to the next one.
I'm beside myself. I'm listening to this lying scumbag, and I'm beside myself. But here's another really good one.
That existed inside the GM. And then later.
About the transactions. For 2 decades, your transactions were very good. The last 3 years, they have not been as good. You said you're doing self-reflection. What do you think?
I get a kick out of like Joey Gallo gets named on, but since Joey Gallo left us, who's picked him up? 2 playoff teams. The Dodgers traded him for us, and then the Twins, who just made the playoffs. They're Sonny Gray. He's currently in the competition for a Cy Young award, right?
You don't get any credit for that because you traded him.
How they get written about these players. I get it because whether they can play in New York or not, which is always a difficult thing. I don't care what anybody says. It's not easy to determine who can until ultimately, especially with the amount of available player talent that you have that's at your disposal lately in the last, because I do believe like whether it's the last trade deadline, which was I thought the worst in terms of opportunities that existed since I've been GM, in terms of trying to go to marketplace to pull down this, that, or whatever.
Excuse.
I feel like there's not as many choices over the coming. These aren't complaints. These are just my facts.
My facts. Are these alternative facts?
You try to engage people. I feel like we got to adjudicate the Joey Gallo decision over and over again. We went all in. We were out of balance. We needed a left-handed bat. It was a very limited.
Whose fault is
We
that?
had a guy that played with him on our roster at the time, the infielder that we got from Odor. Hey, man, what's he like? Can he play in New York? I think he'd be great here.
Odor?
Blah, blah, blah. We do the cross-check. We talk to as many people as you can. You make a decision. Then you live with it. Didn't work out. But since that time,
So it's
the
Odor's
Dodgers
fault.
wanted them. And since that time, the Twins want them. So I get a kick out of how all of a sudden, it's decisions about players that are really good Major League Baseball players or potentially, helpful Major League Baseball players, and that we're dumb for getting them, and other people obviously they're not dumb.
Oh, this is great.
Bottom line, it
This
just
is
comes down to
beautiful.
winning and losing, and that's what this is all about. We lost way too many games than we should have lost last year. That's my fault.
It is your fault, you lying scumbag. Okay, Tats, you go. I'm gonna rev up my engines.
You're going to defend your acquisitions by starting it naming Joey Gallo. He's an asshole. He really is. He is an arrogant asshole. It's Joey fucking Gallo. He went to the Dodgers, never fucking did anything. He went to, when he went to the Twins, then he wasn't even on the postseason roster. He was so fucking mad.
Spit.
They didn't even put him on the roster. The Dodgers used him as a late inning defensive replacement. How did Joey Gallo move the needle for any of those two other teams? What significant change did he make to their playoff run? Nothing. Zero. He was a non-factor. So try again, Cashman. Right? Sonny Gray, amazing when he was in Oakland. When they traded for him, I was excited about it. Here we go. We finally get a legitimate starter in the rotation. They fucked him up with that cutter. And the arrogance, again, with the front office, decided, well, you have to throw it. We're going to ruin you. Susan Wallman, on one of the series when Sonny Gray was here, on the pregame show, was talking with the pitching coach of the Oakland Athletics. And one of the questions that was asked, what'd you do to our guy? What went wrong with Sonny Gray? The pitching coach. The analytics. Cashman. They were all factors. They tried turning him into a pitcher that he wasn't. What happened when he left the Yankees? He stopped using the cutter. I forget who broke it down yesterday, what show. In Oakland, Sonny Gray threw his cutter 1-2% of the time. With the Yankees, 22-23%.
What?
When he went to the Reds, 5%. Do we see a problem with that? A pitch that he doesn't like throwing. He's not comfortable throwing. That's what they did to Sonny Gray. They fucking ruined him because they know better. Their process is above everybody else's. I mean, come on. It's terrible. That's why he's in contention for a Cy Young, because he's not on this team anymore.
Well done, Tats. You broke that down perfectly. I mean, you were spitting right there because that's the truth. Joey Gallo wasn't on the postseason roster, and he bat 177 in the regular season. Are you trying to seriously take credit for that? He wasn't valued by the Twins, and he wasn't valued by the Dodgers, or else the Dodgers would have retained him.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And you don't get credit for Sonny Gray because he wasn't a Cy Young candidate for you. It doesn't matter if he goes elsewhere and becomes a Cy Young candidate because you didn't develop him. You fucked him. He had to go elsewhere. We traded him for pennies on the dollar, right? We traded many established prospects for him, right? And we screwed him up. And we got rid of him for pennies on the dollar. And then he became really good elsewhere. You don't get credit for that. So once again, right, we're cutting through these excuses, right? So what excuses did he use this time? Joey Gallo, right? Well, you don't get credit for that, man, because what are you talking about? Right? And Sonny Gray, you don't get credit for that because you didn't do a good job with him and he became good elsewhere. Right? I don't know a general manager in the entire universe that would take credit for someone else becoming good elsewhere. Right? Because if he's not doing the job for you, then what does it matter? You absolute arrogant slimeball. And I'm not even throwing those words out just willy-nilly. It's the truth. This is unbelievable. This is a man who's being paid $5 million to be the front office executive of the New York Yankees, one of the most important organizations in the world. Right? This logo means a lot to a lot of people, dating back to the 1900s, right? And he is abusing that privilege. He is abusing that privilege by being so arrogant. By being so arrogant and disrespectful. He thinks that we're so stupid that we aren't just going to go and look it up online. Just right there. Oh, you want to bring up Joey Gallo? Okay, I can type it up. Right? It ain't like 1996 where you didn't have cell phones. I got a cell phone right here, buddy. I've got Joey Gallo's information right here. I got Sonny Gray's information right here. And guess what? You don't get any credit for it. He did a terrible job with both of them.
Mhm.
What are we doing here? We are not that stupid. He thinks we are, but we're not. So everyone in the chat, please don't be gaslit by this man. And I'm pretty sure that none of you
there's
are.
no way
But
that
just
there's
make
no
sure
way that this
that none of
dude
you
comes here.
are. Just make sure, because all he's trying to do is disrespect you guys. All right? That's the truth. All he's trying to do is disrespect you guys. He's trying to disrespect all of us, and we can't accept it. Right? This is a man who's desperate, and he's just throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks. Right?
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's what it is. It's as simple as that. He is desperate. He has no argument. He didn't make one argument in that entire catastrophe of a press conference where he could actually go, you know what? He has a point. Not one. Because he's got nothing to stand on. He's done a terrible job. Terrible. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's and Chris is, in Cash We Trust. It's a joke. It really is. You can't constantly fall short while patting yourself on the back. It doesn't. That's not how life works. Because here's the other problem: they're constantly, and Cashman will do this. They'll always praise the fans. We have the best, brightest fans in sports. Then why are you trying to bullshit us? You think we could be fooled? I believe nobody in this family can be fooled. None of us. There's not one person here that felt better after that. Well, I trust my GM. I trust Cashman and Hal to figure it out and deliver us, a proper offseason. All I got out of yesterday was McKinney will be back. We're going to run it all. Everything's going to be fine. IKF will play center field until Dominguez is ready. You're almost waiting for that one. And I don't want to insult the guy and put the player down, right? It takes a lot to be a major league player as long as he has. But we can't go from wanting to trade for Soto, sign Bellinger, and then settle for Kiermaier. Like, it doesn't work. And it's not an insult to Kiermaier. It's just he's not a fit for what we need right now. He doesn't solve any problems. You can play defense with a blindfold on and make every play. I'll give him that. But our problem is our offense. He doesn't move the needle for me.
No, but we'll get into personnel.
That narrative needs to go away. A quick shout out to TC Steels. What's going on, TC? Miss you, bro. Can't wait to see you and Hector back together tomorrow. So really, do they think that we're?
No, he thinks we're stupid. There's not even a question. It's not even a rhetorical question. Yes, he thinks we're stupid. Let's see his next excuse.
It's all about the win. Make that dead on arrival why our season got derailed. If you don't make that a significant reason, it is. You want to say it's an excuse? It's a fact. You want me to sit there and say essentially that that didn't happen and us missing certain guys along the way didn't affect us in the win column? Like, I can't do that.
I don't think anybody disputes that it didn't have a significant impact. What I'm asking is, besides underperformance and injuries, what else did you guys conclude?
Yeah, but I already told you I'm not going to tell you what else was going on in that meeting. So you're asking me to put you in that room. I'm not doing that, which I already said in the beginning of this. So we had organizational meetings. They did get heated. We had a lot of discussions. Some stuff we agreed on, some stuff we disagreed on, and we unpacked a lot of different stuff. Some of it we're making some adjustments. Some of it we actually recommitted to. So I don't know what else to tell you. And again, I go back to it doesn't matter what I say, and it doesn't matter what Hal says. It doesn't matter what Boone says. It matters what we do, because at the end of the day, it's all about wins. It's all about the win.
Finally, something I can agree on. At the end of the day, it is all about the wins, right? He can be an absolute asshole all he wants, but at the end of the day, if he puts together a decent roster and they win games, then a lot of this is moot, right? But it still doesn't defend the fact that he is so disrespectful. So disrespectful. And again, injuries isn't an excuse when that is his process. All he does is acquire injured players, right?
Yeah.
He acquired Frankie Montas when he was injured, right? He acquired Harrison Bader when he was injured, right? Rodon was kind of injured, right? Luis Severino, he extended him when he needed surgery. All he does is acquire injured players, right? So you can't then just use that as a convenient excuse, even though he keeps doing it. Oh, well, we're injured all the time. But dude, whose fault is that? That's your process. You keep bringing in injured players. Why don't you make it part of your process to go, you know what, he's got an injury history. I'm probably going to go with somebody who's a bit more reliable that can play 162. All right? He might not be as good, but at least I know that he's going to be available. But you can't use that as an excuse. You can't keep acquiring injured players and then going, oh, we're injured. Dude, it's your fault.
Yeah. Damien's right. They bullshitted us for too long. We're not falling for it anymore. D-Rod, but he mentions. Oh, sorry, Donald. Cashman got yelled at in the meeting. Is taken out on the media / fans. Very possible, right? They unpacked all these things. Well, Cashman needs to pack his bags and get the fuck out of here.
Yep.
Really, but hey, we could go on. Believe me, Cashman gave us a lot to fucking yell about.
He went in a couple of places. He also went after a minor league player. What was that about?
That's terrible. I'm so it's bad enough you screw up the major league players when you and try to say how they couldn't handle New York. You can't handle the players. You can't handle the development. You can't handle the trades. You can't handle free agency. But it's everybody else's fucking fault. Cashman's got to get out of this fucking bubble that he's done nothing wrong. Even when he tries to come off like he's taking he's accepting the failures, he spins it to somebody else's problem. It's never his fault.
That's exactly it.
And that's why we're fed up. And I want to ask everybody in the chat, right? There's 22, we got a nice crowd in here. Appreciate you all. If you haven't hit that like button, share this out. If you haven't subscribed already, do that. Is LA right that he's the bottom 5 GM? Is he officially in that category now with us?
Oh, I mean, for me, oh my God. I want to add context to this, to the minor league for anyone who doesn't actually know, because this was one of the ones that didn't get that much airtime on X, but was pretty unbelievable. Brian Cashman, and there's an article on the New York Post. Brian Cashman's fiery attack of the Yankees critics included a shot at former prospect Ben Ruda. Cashman called ex-Yankee minor leaguer Ben Ruda bitter boy after Ruda criticized the franchise's approach at minor league level. Right? And Cashman goes, you gave him a platform, this organizational player ripping away on what's wrong with our player development as he flushed out with us and ended up in an organization. As he flushed out with us. He wasn't even as good there as he was with us. Wow.
Why is he even...
But he's getting a platform and everybody sings about what ails the Yankees, and it's like, how is this even happening? It's embarrassing to have stuff like that play out. But hey, when you're losing, you guys are going to gravitate to whoever you want to say, see, I got you. Right? And Ruta replies, bitter boy Brian Cashman doesn't know how many current players in his own organization reached out in support of Ben Ruta following his clips. Embarrassing he doesn't have a pulse on his own organization.
No, he doesn't. That's true. That's true.
Oh my God. You are a horror of a general manager. not only do you treat us like idiots, you treat respected baseball writers like idiots. But now you're going after people that was in your own minor league system just because they have the balls to stand up against you. He had the balls to go, there's an issue with the Yankees minor league development system. That ain't easy to do, right? To go after the big bad Yankees, the Death Star, as Brian Cashman likes to refer to himself as. Well, he obviously got a lot of support because he obviously had facts. And he went after the Yankees organization for their poor development. And Brian Cashman calls them things like bitter boy and flushed out. So he's referring to him as being shit, and he refers to him as being bitter. Right? You're talking about a general manager. I keep saying this, but I need to reaffirm this because this is incredible. You're talking about the general manager of the biggest franchise in the world in terms of sports, right? And he is calling ex-players basic shit and bitter for just saying what the truth is. This is an outrage. All of this is an outrage. I don't even know how to even put into words, but it's so awful to have to endure this. This is embarrassing, man. This is embarrassing. The head of your organization is so arrogant and disrespectful. It's not right. It's not right. He does not know, as Ben Ruda says, he doesn't have a pulse on his own organization. He hasn't had a pulse on it for years. And one person who certainly doesn't have a pulse on his own organization is Hal Steinbrenner. And that's what we'll get into next.
I was going to say, let's get into the whole thing with Rutter and Bitter Boy. It's unacceptable. Why are we even entertaining it? You know, and I'm talking to Cashman. You know, the guy, you know, Rutter said what he said. And the sad part about that is he's right. Rutter was right the way that, you know, this organization handles their guys. We've been saying it for years. Why are we waiting so long? You know, it's, you know, with the time manipulation and all that shit. It's, you don't think everybody else notices it? If the Braves didn't do what they did with their young players, right? And I think they started the ball rolling with really relying more on rookies and then locking them up on the cheap. Cashman's he's constantly behind the eight ball on everything, and thinks that they set that they're the gold standard of the game. You're not. You're not even on. You're not on anybody's level. You're below everybody else. I'd rather a GM, you know. Shit, I'd rather fucking Detroit GM at this point than fucking Cashman.
But Tuss, you said it yourself right there. He said what he said, right? Now, if Brian Cashman, right, wasn't so defensive, because there was clearly it hit a nerve, okay? Whatever Ben Rhoda said, right, hit a nerve with Brian Cashman because that's why he reacted that way, right? So,
because Rhoda was right.
Exactly. He knows there's truth to that, so he's defensive. And he immediately goes on the attack, right? That is Brian Cashman's, and that's what a lot of narcissists do, right? Instead of taking accountability, he immediately twists it around and goes after them, right? That is a classic narcissistic trait. Brian Cashman is the classic narcissist, right? I'm not going to go into a bunch of psychology stuff, but that's the truth. If you immediately spin it around and go on the attack, that means that it hit a nerve with you, right? Right? So at the end of the day, TC Steeles has got it right. Cashman's small man syndrome is running wild. Exactly. Because Cashman's being questioned now. He's never been questioned. He's not been questioned since the 90s, right? And he could have used World Series as an excuse to cover himself for a while, and he has kept using it up until now, and now it's run out. And now the excuses have run out, and now he's in self-preservation mode. So he's just basically going on the attack. But the truth is, right, he obviously knows there's an element of truth to that. That's why he's going on the defensive. So don't buy it, guys. Ben Roda's right. He's right. Because if he wasn't right, Brian Cashman wouldn't have gone after him, right? Because Brian Cashman could easily have just gone, well, you know what? The proof is in the pudding. He can say what he wants. At the end of the day, he's a guy in another organization now. I'm proud of our work, and I'm going to continue to work. And he could have just said that, right? And they could have just shut that down. Hey, I'm the general manager of the Yankees. Who the fuck are you, right? But he didn't need to say it that way, but he could have just put it out that way, and none of us would have made a big deal of it. Instead, he went after him. He tore him apart. He went after his abilities. He went after this. He went after that. Do you know why? Because he hit a nerve with him. Because he knows he's right.
It's... I mean, what's left to say or rip Cashman apart for that we haven't? You know, I mean, it's... You can't get so pissed off because a former player called you out and try to say that, you know, and try to act like you've done nothing wrong. Your process got him to that point. Your process is the reason why, out of all the the baby bombers that were coming up, there's only one left standing. If your process and your system is so fucking good, where's Greg Bird? Where's Gary Sanchez? Where's Andujar? Where's Chance Adams? Where's Davey Garcia? What happened? You know, look what happened to to Severino, who's supposed to be our ace. Look what you did to look at what we're turning Florial into. A fucking laughingstock. Who can't get a fucking fair deal.
Yep.
You're telling me that all those players just flat out suck? It has nothing to do with the way the organization is run? He can try to spin it any way he wants. The fact of the matter is, the organization, the structure, the foundation is fractured. I'm not going to say it's broken because, they have the means to fix it really quick. The fracture is the GM office. That want to just sit there and act like everything is fine. The fucking house of cards is crumbling, and Cashman's sitting there just with a little, umbrella, going, everything's fine. I'm not getting wet because he's not going to go anywhere. He's got a job for life. Go back in hindsight, I kind of wish we did finish under 500 because Hal at least made the statement, if things go terribly wrong, significant changes will happen. Domingo Herman. I know that Craig Bird, he had the injuries, but I'm just saying, I hope you understand what I'm. These were the guys that were supposed to.
The truth is, the Yankees haven't developed anyone of note. The Yankees, you could just sum it up as the Yankees haven't developed anyone of note since Aaron Judge, and Aaron Judge is 31 years old, right? So that's the facts. It's not even hyperbole. It's the facts. They've not developed anyone significant since Aaron Judge, and Aaron Judge is now 31. Okay, so that's it. It's as simple as that, right? So Brian Cashman can scream and rant and close his eyes and put his fingers in his ears and stamp his feet all he wants, but that's the truth. Now, we've moved on from Brian Cashman. We've got to get into some Hal Steinbrenner right now because Hal wasn't much better, right? And this was my favorite bit, and this was the title of our podcast today. This is great. I love this.
Let me give you I'll give an example. So one thing that was discussed in August is bunting. I mean, I think Aaron Boone thinks that we're not teaching the young players to bunt enough. What we do in player development is, try to evolve with the game. Bunting is less a part of the game than it was 10 years ago. I looked it up. 10 years ago, I think the average team bunted successfully, sacrifice bunts like 30 times in an entire season. Now that number's down to like 12 or 13. We bunted 7 or 8 times last year. We're right in line with the Texas Rangers.
Congratulations.
So yes, a few years ago in player development, we kind of cut back on the bunting skills. But Aaron Boone feels it's becoming a bigger part of the game again. He feels it's important, so we're gonna start right up again.
World Series is back on. We're gonna bunt more. Seriously? That solves the fucking problem with our offense is bunting? Jesus.
As you see, that's the Bronx Bunters.
Seriously.
Again, I want to reaffirm this. We were talking about the leader of the Yankees, and he's saying, how are you going to try and get better next year? Oh, we're going to bunt more.
I'm going to have my wife make a shirt. I'm trademarking Bronx Bunters. I'm saying
I
right
know.
now.
I mean, that's a great idea. But who says that? We're going to bunt more? What are you talking about? And also, just in terms of like pure like baseball, just wading through the piles of bullshit, right? We are the least athletic team in the majors, and we're the slowest team in the majors. What's bunting going to do? And who's going to bunt? Aaron Judge? Stanton? Rizzo? Who are you on the bunt?
They couldn't. Why didn't they think of this when they had the shift in play? That's when you needed to learn how to bunt. See, they're constantly 5 years behind everybody. You have a whole side of the field open, but you're going to hit the ball right to the three infielders that are playing second base. Meanwhile, third base is wide the fuck open. But now that there's no shift, now you want to focus on bunting? Now you want if he would have said, with the acquisitions of the new rules, one of the things we need to address more is just getting different aspects of the game back into our game plan. That would be an acceptable answer for me. And not just try to hit the long ball all the time. But to just focus on the single phrase of bunting. How fucking... It's really... There's almost no doubt in my mind that fucking Hal and Brian are from the same fucking gene pool. It's official. Because for the two of them to be so off the mark on the same day, it's astounding.
As Joel Sherman has an article saying here, Hal Steinbrenner sounds tone deaf. And that's the best way of putting it, right? But, I mean, let's just look at this, right? He promised, let's not forget that Hal Steinbrenner promised big changes, right? And we were looking at what these big changes could be, right? Aaron Judge has railed against the analytics, right? Or the use of our analytics, okay? And what did Hal Steinbrenner do? Defended it, right? We have the worst medical team I've ever seen, right? I mean, we literally have a laundry list of dudes that hit the IL this year, right? And Anthony Rizzo was concussed for months, and they didn't diagnose it properly, right? That's a fact, okay? And what did Hal Steinbrenner say yesterday? There's no smoking gun with the medical team. I can't see anything wrong with our medical team. They do a great job. They almost ruined a man's career. And you can't find a smoking gun? I can name a smoking gun right now for you. That's it, Anthony Rizzo. You almost ruined his career because he was concussed for 3 months and you didn't do anything about it. That's negligence. Stanton can't walk with any speed without his legs giving up on him. You're telling me there's no smoking gun? This is lies and incompetence and fear of doing anything that resembles anything. That's the truth. He's terrified of doing anything. So he backs down. He promised big changes and delivers nothing, right? So, Aaron Boone, right? Apparently his job was under threat. That didn't take very long. I spoke to everyone and they said that I should keep him. So he's staying. Oh, great. Okay, that's fantastic, right? And apparently Aaron Boone was asked, "What are you going to do next year to try and make this team better?" And Aaron Boone suggests bunting more. If I was the owner of the Yankees and I says, "Dude, we missed the playoffs, right? This is our worst season since the 90s, since 92, right? What are you going to do to make this team better?" I think we should bunt more. I would fire you on the spot. You ridiculous idiot. Bunt more? That's not the answer. It never was the answer. What are we talking about? Bunt more. Jesus Christ. I think Joe Torre said that to him after the Yankees said to George Steinbrenner, after the Yankees didn't win a World Series in 2001. Oh, what are you going to do to try and make this team win the World Series next year? Do you know what? The reason why we didn't win a World Series last year is because we didn't bunt more. Are you kidding me? This is unbelievable. But it's so stupid. So Aaron Boone's an idiot. Yeah. And then of course he defends George. And I love the fact that Hal Steinbrenner was asked about Brian Cashman's terrible recent trade record. And guess what he does? He defends Brian Cashman and says, "Oh, but what about all the trades that did work out? Clay Holmes and Trevino." What are we even doing here? Why are you gaslight? Why are you so afraid to hold people accountable? You are an owner. You're a billionaire. You represent a giant organization. Why are you so afraid to do your job? That's what I find amazing. That is what I find amazing because everyone here, some of you own a business, I guarantee, or some of you, whatever line of work you're in, right? Or whatever you hold dear, right? You are responsible for that, okay? And you know that it all comes down to you in order to make it better, right? If it isn't performing to a certain way, you know what I mean? So everyone is incumbent on doing that, okay? So anyone who has a podcast, what do you guys want to do? Try and make that podcast better, for trying to make it grow. And if it isn't growing, why isn't it growing? Let's try and find a way to make it grow, right? Doesn't matter what line of work that you're in, right? Whatever you hold dear, right? You have to take some measures. Uncle Tats has taken measures to try and make this podcast bigger and grow, right? And it's working, right? So what I'm saying is Hal Steinbrenner is the owner of the Yankees, right? He protects that. And he is basically saying, it's broke, but I ain't fixing it, right? And I'm scared to fix it because I don't want to tread on anyone's toes, right? So that is terrible, man, because that means that nothing's going to get better. It means nothing is going to grow. The Yankees aren't going to get better. You've basically heard it from the horse's mouth. They aren't going to make any changes. They don't want to do any changes because they don't want to tread on anyone's toes. They don't want to upset Aaron Boone. They don't want to upset Brian Cashman. That's what it is. The Yankees might spend a ton of money to try and make them look better, but the organization is still broken. And that's the fact. It's very sad, man. He is totally tone deaf. So we've gone through the fact that the analytics is broken. He's not going to do anything about it. He says that there's no smoking gun in terms of the medical staff, even though we're the most injured team in the league. And he's asked about Brian Cashman's terrible recent GM record. And what did he do? He defended Brian Cashman's GM record. So that's nothing. He's not going to do anything. Aaron Boone apparently was going to fire Aaron Boone. That didn't last long. Now he's great and wonderful. So no changes are being made. The only changes that's going to happen is the bench coach and a batting coach. One, the batting coach didn't want to come back, so we had to get a new batting coach anyway. So that's nothing. Right? And a bench coach, we were going to talk about getting a bench coach anyway to become bad cop to Aaron Boone's good cop. So really nothing is changing. What a farce. What a farce. Tats.
It's like if Hal wants to get this team back into contention, and be competitive and one of the best, it takes having the right people around you. And Cashman doesn't have that. Hal does not have the right people around him. Cashman is not the guy. That was like when this all started. We didn't have the right guy along with us. Right? I don't want to go too deep back into history here. But changes needed to be made. We made the changes. And look where we are now. It takes self-awareness and having the balls to go, all right, it's not working. Let's revamp this whole thing. You also need to, if you're not going to go to the meeting, you have to, that's
I love this bit. Please say what it was. Did Hal Steinbrenner really say, somebody take the minutes of the meeting? I read the notes.
Serious? I mean, come on now. That would be like if I was on when I was on vacation, right? I knew that I know that I don't have, we've worked long enough together. You, Rob, Donald, Chris Lynn, Moses, and like we have this good family building. I could actually go away and be stress free. Hal can't. Hal had to call Judge from his fucking vacation home in Italy because Cashman almost fucked it up. And you're not going to sit in those meetings? Sorry, Hal. I don't care how much fucking money you have no brains. You have no business sense. How are you not involved? You just had, like you said, Donald, one of their worst seasons since '92. And you didn't see a fucking flag, a red flag of not being there? Come on. I mean, smart. It's so fucking aggravating. They pissed me off so bad yesterday. Hal got me aggravated. Brian pissed me off.
Yeah, exactly. Hal is so soft because you listen to him and he kept saying, we had heated discussions, but it was respectful. I just wanted to make sure that it was respectful. I don't give a fuck if it's respectful. What does it matter if it's respectful or not? I just want the truth. The truth needs to come out, right? I want that meeting to have. I don't care if it was respectful. What do you? Oh, please, Mr. Cashman, if you don't mind, Mr. Cashman, fuck that, dude. You're a lying fucking weasel scumbag. You've done a fucking shitty job, right? That's what I would fucking say if I was working for him. I'd have gone fired for it. I don't give a fuck. Fuck you, you prick. You're fucking this Yankee organization up. Own it, right? I'm giving. Oh, it's really respectful. What the fuck? Who cares about respect? I just want the truth. Let's get through the truth. Cut through the bullshit. Right. This is what we need to do to make it better. It was really important that it was respectful. Respectful, my ass.
But it's not even like he was. Let's flip the script on a little bit on it. If he would have come out and have been like, look, I excuse myself from the meetings. I trust that they're going to be able to hash everything out. They're going to have their idea sharing and all of that. And like Cashman said, it got some things they agreed on, some things they didn't. You said I didn't want to influence people's opinions with me sitting in the room.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't say that. He didn't say that. No, he knew that he was going. They all knew he was going to find out what was said, but he wanted them to have the comfortability to speak freely. Like if I'm talking with my bosses in my building at my job, I'm open. I had no. If I know that the district boss is going to be in earshot, there are things I tone back on because I want to keep issues in house. I don't want the dirty laundry getting out all over the place. So you hold back a little bit. Would that have been the case if Hal was sitting there? Would they have held back and been like, no, everything's fine? Because you want to protect your job and cozy him up that everything is being fine. Oh, yeah, he's got a New Yorker in him. Don't worry about that.
Plenty.
You know what I mean? Like, it's I'm not expecting much this offseason anymore. Yesterday, it was over. It was over before it started.
Yeah,
we're gonna get the bottom of the barrel, guys. TC said it in the chat earlier. We're gonna get all the guys. The DFA scrap heap. That's how they're gonna rebuild this team and plug in some holes.
Yeah, I mean, you're right.
Yeah,
Jonathan's right here. He wants 2 outfielders. Oh, we need a left fielder and somebody to bat from the left side. Again, bro, whose fault is that? You didn't acquire a left fielder last season. And the team was overly right-handed. Again, that's your fault. I love these excuses as if that covers him. As I'm saying, every single thing that he said yesterday is so easy just to end the argument right there, right? Oh, I need to go out in the marketplace and get a left fielder and a center fielder, right? Well, bro, you didn't acquire a left fielder last year, and the center fielder you acquired was injured when you acquired him, right? Oh, and you also released him. So everything that he's trying to cover himself with, all he's doing is just trying to paper over a massive hole in his argument, which is so easy to cut through. But he thinks that we're so stupid that that we can't look into that ourselves. That's what I find amazing and quite galling, really. And as for Hal Steinbrenner, I love this one as well. He championed getting an audit in. We've got auditors coming in. They're gonna go through how we can perform better, right? And then he was asked yesterday how the auditors went. Right? How is it going with the auditors? And he said it hasn't started yet, and it's a year-long process, and it isn't personnel-based. So, all we have to look forward to is an audit that we're not going to find out any results for 12 freaking months, and none of it is about the personnel. So
but
nothing's changing.
Yeah, it's going all Blue Gold. Thanks for joining us. But the audit is to break down and really evaluate like the analytic the analytics department, the process, all that shit, right? Who suggested the firm? And Blue Gold beat me to the punch. Right? He stole my thunder. God damn it. Mike Fishman suggested the firm to break everything down. How do you think that's going to go?
Beautiful.
Seriously, did they think we weren't going to find that shit out?
Mike Fishman, one of the most incompetent front office people in the league, recommends the auditors of his own incompetent department. I love that. The irony is just so beautiful.
I'm gonna tell my boss the next time I get my yearly evaluation that I'm bringing in my friend to do it for me, and see how that goes over. Right? I'm gonna have audit myself. My best, actually, maybe not my best friend. My best, a lot of my friends, they'll be like, if I brought Brad in, I'd be fired.
Unbelievable. Tats, how are you gonna audit yourself? I'm gonna just do it myself. Actually, I'm the best person.
Yep.
What? They have balls, man. I'll give Fishman one thing. He's got balls.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, man. It's just
And
remarkable. The Yankees are so lost. It's sad. It's really sad. So nothing's changing. Nothing. The only thing I will say about Hal Steinbrenner is at least he said that this season was awful and they accomplished nothing. And that and that having an 82 and 80 record is a requirement, not an accomplishment. I like those words, right? That was the only part that was of any consequence from Hal Steinbrenner. Brian Cashman said nothing, nothing, even close to that. Because Brian Cashman is content, man. And I think you're right. I think he's covered. I think he knows he's covered. I think that's why he can go on the attack because he's got he's got another 3 years in his deal, and he's very, very comfortable in his position. So he can sit there and he can just speak to people like pieces of shit, and he knows he's fine, right? He's a member of the family, and it's
everything's
disgraceful.
peachy keen. Nothing to worry, nothing to see here. Everything is
Exactly.
fine.
It's unaccountable. It's gaslighting. Oh, we're not the problem. You're the problem for thinking I'm the problem, right? Oh, who are you to ask me questions? You're the idiot. I'm fantastic. That's basically the attitude. And as you say, Tats, it doesn't matter what line of work you're in, right? It doesn't matter who you are, right? You could be an owner of a giant mansion, right? And somebody comes over to fix your electrics, to fix your cable, right? You still have to speak to that person with respect, right? No one is better than anyone else. Everyone should be spoken to with respect. You treat others how you wish to be treated yourself. And it doesn't matter who you think you are, right? Brian Cashman thinks that he is untouchable. He thinks that anyone who speaks to him is below him because, and that's not even my just saying that as an opinion, that's a fact because we've seen it for years now. Anyone who asks him a question, doesn't matter who it is, could be Joel Sherman, who's very, very well respected, could ask him a question, and he doesn't go, thanks for that question, and then speak to him like a human being. No. It's, I'm going after him. I mean, that's disrespectful, right? So you know that he has no respect for us. He has no respect for anyone. And that's very, very sad and very, very troubling. Extremely troubling. Because that means that he's unaccountable and he will never look at himself. So these meetings that are going on behind closed doors, don't look into it, guys. Don't go into it. Don't look into it because I think he had the same attitude behind closed doors as he had yesterday. Basically, anyone who calls me out, I'm going right after you. Right? Now, people might like that attitude, but when you are a struggling general manager of a team that hasn't done shit since 2009, so you have to take your lumps, man. You have to try and get better, and he refuses to do it.
Cashman's trying to do his best fucking Officer Barbrady imitation. There's nothing to see here. Move along.
Yep.
No, it doesn't work that. You should have been a politician because he could take any question and spin it.
Oh yeah.
It's so sad. It's sad that this is what this team has become. It's no wonder why we have so much trouble getting the right players. Because who the fuck wants to come here to this circus? Who's kicking down the door going, I want to be developed by the Yankees. If I get developed by the Yankees, my career is set. I'm a Hall of Famer. No. I hope. I say this, tongue in cheek here, but I hope that we get burned in this offseason and it comes out that nobody wanted to take it, none of the agents wanted to work with Cashman because the money will be there in another organization for these guys. There's 30 teams in baseball, not one. And everybody's looking to improve. So Cashman better wake the fuck up. Because if he is coming into this offseason with an attitude like he did yesterday, who's going to want to talk to him?
Well, you just said it yourself, man. There's 30 teams in the league, not just one. And Brian Cashman treats it like there's just one.
Yeah.
And that's a fact. He has been lapped by other teams. And most organizations and most general managers would look at that honestly and go, right, why is it that why are we being lapped by other organizations? Why are they doing these processes better than we are? Right? That's what any business would do, right? Any business. It doesn't matter if you're the general manager of the Yankees or the general manager of anything, right? If your business isn't performing the way it should be performing, then you need to look into the reasons why. But the Yankees aren't doing it, and that's what's so frustrating. And it's so disrespectful because there's a lot of people that pay a lot of money to go to these games, to buy the products, to buy the hats, to buy the shirts, right? Yeah. To sit in that stadium to pay $40 a pop for chicken buckets, right? $700 for a day out to go to the Yankee Stadium to see them lose with Billy McKinney and frickin'. Are you freaking kidding me? Right? But they do it because we love the Yankees, right? But you still have to take some responsibility. But they don't do it because it's our fault. Why are we being so disrespected as a fan base? What have we done to be so disrespected? Right? We pay a ton of money to go see them. And this is the respect we get. Because anyone who treats the media that way knows fine that the media is meant to be a mouthpiece for the fan base. So really, indirectly, Brian Cashman was speaking to the fans yesterday. And how did he speak to us? He spoke to us like we're all pieces of shit.
Yeah.
It's totally unacceptable.
I did see one clip from Michael Kay with Don McGregor.
Yeah.
And Don McGregor made a great point when he said the reason, the seats will become empty. The reason that they were not empty last year is because the majority of fans buy their ticket packages in the off season.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going, who in their right mind would re-up after a disgraceful season that they gave and with the press conference that they, from yesterday? Who's jumping, running to get their season tickets? Who's jumping just to buy a small ticket package? I was going to do that. I was going to buy, like a 20-game package, standing room, walk around, see, I'm not doing that. I'll pick and choose a couple of games that I go to. I will go to games. Yeah. I'm not gonna boycott my team.
No.
Because whether I'm at the stadium or I'm home, I'm still a Yankee fan. Whether the TV is on or not, I'm still a Yankee fan. I'm going to support.
And they're banking on that, man. They're banking on that.
And yes, yeah, and that makes me part of the problem. But the reason that I do it, right, and I can only speak for myself, when they do win, knowing that I never turn my back, it's going to be a little more rewarding for me. Going through the hardships. Same thing with, I'm sure Mr. Barros in the chat, some of the, Sunil, some of the older guys that remember the 90s and how dreadful they were, how rewarding it was, and how proud the fans were through the dynasty years. This is just history repeating itself in a way. When we get back to the World Series and we win it, because it's a matter of a when, not an if. Man, it's gonna be New York's gonna erupt.
Well, a lot has to change, man, and it's not going to happen with this ownership. Well, with this general manager or manager, I just don't see it. I don't see it because if you're going to win a championship, you have to hold yourself accountable, and they're not doing it. You have to have self-respect, self-reflection, and an element of self-respect too. And they're just not doing it. So I'm sorry, I can't see it. Right now, maybe if Brian Cashman brings in Soto, hey, he even brought up Otani. It doesn't matter. Whoever they bring, if they spend a ton of money and bring in these superstar players that builds a team around Aaron Judge and Garrett Cole, hey, you never know, right? You never know. But I can't say that I feel good about this. This is terrible. This is hugely concerning. I'm more concerned after yesterday than I was before it. And that says something because I pretty much checked out on Brian Cashman and Aaron Boone long ago. But and Hal Steinbrenner. And to have that happen yesterday, I'm even more done. It's just disgraceful. But do you guys think that remember at the end of the season, Hal Steinbrenner promised big changes, right? And then not long after that, we all received an email saying, re-up your tickets for the Yankees 2024, right? Do you think that that was designed in order for us to go, oh, wow, big changes are coming, great. Let's go get those tickets, right? And now he's like, gotcha. No, I'm not doing anything, actually. And probably a lot of it had to do with just getting some tickets sold, right? Before he actually decided on doing nothing. Now, I'm not saying they're not going to do anything in terms of free agency and trades. I'm sure they will. They have to.
No, they're going to make some changes, but are they going to be substantial
process
changes?
isn't changing.
Yeah. No, it's not. And I'm not Jonathan. No, I don't think they're going to win with Boone as a manager, but they're definitely not going to win with Cashman as a GM.
No, exactly. There's no chance.
You say that we're never going to win, but I can't sit here. I can't honestly say, or I can't feel like the Yankees will never win another World Series.
Oh, they will.
So that's why I'm saying when, not if. The if part comes if they make changes.
Yeah.
If Cashman is no longer the GM, if Boone's no longer the manager, that's what that's what I'm saying. You know, I don't think they're going to win in the next couple of years.
And the truth is, right? They're getting worse, not getting better.
But that's like that would have been my question to Cashman or Hal, both of them, right? And I said this because Pete Simonetti was live streaming during the press conferences, and the other thing about that, it really annoyed me that they weren't on Yes Network.
Oh, it's terrible.
It was like they didn't want anybody to be able to watch it. It was like it was. No, you sit on the fucking at the podium and you answer the questions. A fucking Zoom call? What is this, 2020 again? I mean, make yourself accessible. It was like, if you didn't like anything, if you didn't like the way it was going, all of a sudden the screen was going to go black, technical error. Right? Only I could do that. I'm the one that has the technical problems. But the accessibility, it's non-existent. The accountability is shot. Really, they until they start changing this process, where are we going? Nowhere. We're going to see the same thing. I fear that this past season is where we are. That's why I kept saying it. We've been preaching it. This is the most important all season for the Yankees. This is going to define whether last year was just a little blip on the radar and the Yankees can still be the Yankees, or they're going to get back to the they gotta start flexing. After yesterday, they're not flexing anything.
Dude, over the last 18 months, the Yankees have a losing record in the regular season. over the last 18 months of a losing record in the regular season. So how is that a sign that they're getting better? And how is it a sign that you can use injuries as an excuse? Right? Clearly there's an operational problem if the New York Yankees, we're pretty fucking good actually. If you're really fucking good, why have you got a losing record over the last year and a half of regular season play? Right? How really fucking good are you? Right? Oh, we're really fucking good, but we finished first last year and we finished up fourth this year. And a distant fourth at that. How really good are you? Right? Oh, we're really fucking good, but we didn't have a left fielder last year. Like, what are we doing here? Right? Oh, we're really fucking good, but every trade I've made, I've been on the losing side of it. Just all I'm asking for is accountability, right? I wanted Brian Cashman fired. I've been wanting him fired for years because he's incompetent and he's an asshole, right? But if he has to stay, at least be a human being, right? At least be a human being and at least have some self-reflection and some self-respect because he doesn't have any with the way he performed yesterday. And just admit that things have gone wrong and he's going to try and fix it. He's working to fix it, right? And everything's on the table. If he said that, there's not a lot that we can say, right? I'm not going to agree with it, but at least he's trying to take some accountability. It's better than what happened yesterday, where he went on the attack and he spoke to all of us like we're idiots. And he used a whole range of excuses that were embarrassing, that anyone would be embarrassed about. If a random Joe Schmo Yankee fan from down the street had the same excuses, we'd be laughing at him, let alone the general manager of the New York Yankees. It's such a disgrace what happened yesterday.
The disgrace is right, and we're gonna wrap it up, and we're gonna close it on this. The back page of the Post today. If it's broke, don't fix it. That was the message that they told us. If it's broken, don't fix it. So that tells us everything we need to know about this offseason. But listen, we really appreciate everybody hanging out with us. We had a blast. A lot of some yelling, some laughing, everything in between. This was a lot longer of a show, and that was because you guys you keep it going. So appreciate everybody that was in the chat. Jonathan, Blue Gold, Davey, what's going on? Dev, Hector for the Morning Brew, stopped by. We had his co-host TC Steels. We had Jason earlier on from 161. So Blue Gold, we start the shows at 10 a.m. So hopefully, we'll be back probably Friday. So we'll figure that out.
Hit the sub button, hit the like button. Please share it out to everybody. We want to get this family growing further. But we thank you so much to everyone who tuned in and gave us your thoughts and opinions. This is a family. It's a Yankee family. We'll get through this together, whatever happens.
Yeah. So it's Sunil, Garcia, Medina. There's so many of you that we appreciate that came in today. But this is going to wrap things up for us. This has been the Pitchside Chronicles. I'm Uncle Tats. I've been here with Donald and, of course, with all of you guys. And as I always say, wear those pinstripes of pride and play hard.
Play harder than the Yankees do.